Good evening and welcome to a special edition of CTV News. We are live in North Dumfries, just south of Kitchener tonight, where police are investigating the death of Tim Bosma. The one person they have in custody is about to be charged with first-degree murder. We have full team coverage on this developing story tonight. We begin with CTV's David Emery. David, after a long and emotional week for everybody who's involved in this case, police now confirm to us that they believe Tim Bosma was targeted.
They do, Megan, and police also tell us now that they believe there are more than two suspects. Police say 27-year-old Dylan Millard will now face a charge of first-degree murder. They say this is a fast-moving investigation. There are at least 3 suspects.
Investigation has now revealed that Tim Bosma was murdered. He was taken to a location in Waterloo area where his body was burned beyond recognition.
Police now say they believe Tim Bosma was sought out by the 2 men who asked to test drive his pickup.
Do I think he was targeted? And the answer was yes.
Kavanaugh is confident a second suspect, a white male 5'9" to 5'10", with a small to medium build, dark hair, and in his early to mid-20s, will be found.
That investigation is still going on. There are several officers still working on that, and he will be arrested, I can guarantee that.
Police do not have any details about the other suspects, but they have surveillance video showing a second vehicle, perhaps an SUV, that was involved.
So where's the second suspect? Is the second suspect here? Is he alive? Who is the second suspect? What would the motive be? Seems like a lot of trouble for a truck, especially if Millard's supposed to be wealthy. Why wouldn't he buy a 2007 Dodge?
Even though one man is in custody, police say with suspects still at large, there is reason for public concern.
Look what he did the first time to Mr. Bosma. So yes, there is a fear. And we're doing everything we can to identify this person and get him under arrest.
Police say a black pickup truck seized inside a trailer over the weekend at Dylan Millard's mother's home in Kleinburg is the truck that was owned by Tim Bosma. They have confirmed his mother was not involved. One outstanding question is, what happened?
Were they after the truck? Were they going to just shove Bosma out during the test drive? Something went wrong?
And Megan, police have not revealed the cause of death. They say that remains with the coroner's office. And they will not confirm that the remains were found at this site, but they do tell us that they were found in Waterloo region.
All right, thanks, David. Lots of questions still. Well, this property behind me is one of 2 key scenes in this investigation right now. We do know that it is largely vacant land used mainly as farmland. Now, CTV's Nicole Lampa is also on scene with us tonight. Nicole, officers have had a heavy police presence here today. When did they first arrive?
Well, Megan, police got here on Saturday, and they'll be here for quite some time. The coroner's office, as well as the Center for Forensic Science, are here on the scene, and we've been told that they've been issued a 2-week search warrant.
Today, several crews showed up first thing this morning. Officers combing the 100-acre property on foot, using horses to help navigate hilly terrain. By mid-morning, news that Bosma's charred remains were found rocks the rural community. This man used to live in a home next door.
It's a big property. You can see it opens up at the back, so it's pretty secluded.
Dylan Millard, who is the only suspect arrested, owns the land. Records show he bought the North Dumfries property in May 2011. He paid $835,000 in cash.
We spoke to a man who rents this property from Millard for farming purposes, but he didn't want to speak on camera. But he tells us that he was out here yesterday helping police understand the perimeter of the property. And as he walked around, police told him that there were 2 areas that were burnt, which are now covered by tents.
Hamilton police say an incinerator has been recovered from the North Dumfries property belonging to murder suspect Dylan Millard. It comes as police activity ramped up today at the suspect's airport hangar out in Breslau. That's where we find CTV's Nicole Lampa tonight. Nicole, police have been on scene for several days now. How are people in the area reacting to all of this?
Well, Megan, as you can imagine, they are nervous and scared because police are not saying much about the suspects they're looking for.
A taxiway normally used for airplanes is now part of a murder investigation. For the first time since taking over the Breslau hangar belonging to suspect Dylan Millard, police officers are searching the ground for clues, and an incident command post is now set up. Gladys Musselman lives by herself across the street. Word that 2 more suspects are at large doesn't sit well with her.
being a single person out here, it is frightening.
This line search began just after the noon hour, and it's not just people who live nearby who are nervous, so are business owners.
A company that supplies material to Millard Air says they're concerned because Hamilton police have not yet said anything about Millard Air employees. The company only dealt with one man at the hangar who was not Dylan Millard. This nearby business owner says everyone in the small community is on high alert.
My wife, she got scared because we're living about 10 minutes from here. And now she said, I'm locking my door in the daytime.
At the farmland south of Kitchener, where 2 tents are set up, Hamilton police retrieved an incinerator, but won't say if it was used in the slaying of Tim Bosma, who was selling his truck online and was last seen 11 days ago taking 2 men out for a test drive. His body was discovered earlier this week, burnt beyond recognition. A man who rents and works on Millard's property in North Dumfries told CTV earlier this week 2 areas in the field had burn marks and are now covered in tents. Back at the airport, Musselman says she's praying for Bosma's family and for all of this to end soon.
Well, I'm just hoping that there is some type of evidence, something that they can find that can close this case quickly.
And CTV has made several calls to Hamilton police to see if they can provide any further information in regards to the suspects or if any Millard Air employees are involved, but they say they would not provide any comments at this time.
CTV News has learned Toronto homicide detectives are now looking into the death of Dylan Millard's father. It was originally ruled a suicide, but since Millard has been charged in the murder of Tim Bosma, police say they are re-examining the case. They also confirmed the search for a missing Toronto woman could somehow be connected to all of this. CTV's Nicole Lampa is working on this developing story tonight. Nicole, let's start with Millard's father.
Well, Megan, Wayne Millard died last November and it was ruled a suicide, and his son Dylan wrote the obituary. Today, Toronto police confirmed to CTV News that they are now revisiting this case and another one.
Dylan Millard is a murder suspect in the death of Tim Bosma. Bosma's body was discovered earlier this week, burned beyond recognition. Millard is heir to an aviation dynasty. His father is Wayne Millard, seen here when Dylan was just a teen. Wayne Millard allegedly committed suicide last November at the home he shared with his son, but now Toronto homicide detectives confirm they are re-looking into his death. They also say this missing woman is now part of the investigation. 23-year-old Laura Babcock was last seen in June 2012 in Toronto's Roncesvalles area. The two were friends. Here's Babcock with her ex-boyfriend at Medieval Times a couple of years ago, and there's Millard off to the side. They partied together, hung out together, and friends say they even had a romantic relationship together immediately before Babcock went missing. Toronto police say they have phone records showing calls Babcock made to Millard. Over in Breslau, at the hangar belonging to Millard, our cameraman captured police taking away a black storage trailer as well as a vehicle tandem trailer. Also on site today was Hamilton's Marine unit, lifting grates and looking at what appears to be drainage areas. A farm south of Kitchener belonging to Millard is also part of the investigation. It's where Hamilton police say they've recovered an incinerator.
Police are once again searching property belonging to murder suspect Dylan Millard. Hamilton police were camped out at a farm south of Kitchener up until last week, looking for clues in the death of Tim Bosma. Now, Toronto police have taken over the site for a different investigation. CTV's Nicole Lampa is just back from the property in North Dumfries. Nicole, are Toronto police providing any details?
Well, Megan, Toronto police told us a week and a half ago that Dylan Millard may be connected to the disappearance of a 23-year-old Toronto woman. Today, Toronto police showed up at the farm.
A ground-penetrating radar unit is being dragged back and forth behind a barn belonging to Dylan Millard. He's one of the 2 men charged with first-degree murder in the death of Tim Bosma. Bosma's burnt remains were discovered on this property by Hamilton police, but now Toronto police have taken over the scene.
About 10 officers are here today. 2 are from Toronto. The rest are from the OPP and Waterloo Regional Police.
A little over a week ago, Toronto homicide detectives confirmed they are looking into the possible connection between Dylan Millard and the death of his father and the disappearance of 23-year-old Laura Babcock. The top homicide boss tells CTV they're following up on information received and looking at a particular area of land. We don't know what, if anything at all, they will find. The radar unit was used extensively. This archaeologist explains what it's used for.
It's a portable radar machine that looks beneath the surface of the ground. It's a non-invasive technology that lets you see if there are any objects below the surface.
With police back at the scene, people who work and live nearby are disturbed.
Scary. Scary.
Well, I hope that they find something. I mean, it's disconcerting that she's disappeared for this length of time and they haven't found anything about what happened to her.
I think it's just crazy. The whole story is crazy, and I just hope they can get it all solved soon enough.
A major police presence today at the North Dumfries farm belonging to murder suspect Dylan Millard. Several dozen officers scoured the barn and property, including a special team from the OPP. Officers in hazmat suits were seen going through dozens of barrels found on the property. Today's search is the culmination of a week of police activity at the farm. Investigators confirm they are looking into the disappearance of Laura Babcock after receiving new information. Babcock went missing in July 2012. Police say she and Millard had a romantic relationship. CTV's Nicole Lampa has been following this story closely. She joins us from the property again tonight with the very latest details. Nicole, police have been there all week, but today things seem to take a new turn.
That's right, Megan. A special OPP team showed up this morning and they suited up with gas masks and hazmat gear and brought out several barrel drums. OPP officers slowly and carefully bring out 54 barrel drums from Dylan Millard's barn to determine if they are dangerous.
And identify what's in the drums if there's anything of evidentiary value.
The OPP's Urban Chemical Response Team was called in as part of Toronto Police's investigation into missing Laura Babcock. The 23-year-old had a romantic relationship with Millard right before she disappeared. Word of what's going on at Millard's property today has Babcock's family on edge.
I must admit that I had flashes of horror movies I've seen in the past that came to my head, but you quickly catch yourself and you take a couple deep breaths.
Toronto police were back here in June, but CTV has learned that the search warrant for back then was only for the land and not inside the barn. And given that there already have been a handful of search warrants on this property, one legal expert explains why it's taken so long to look inside the barrels. Craig Perry's a criminal defense lawyer.
In June, they may not have had information that caused them to believe these barrels had any significance to any investigation.
The special OPP team say their work here is only to ensure safety as the search goes on before handing the barrels over to investigators.
Presumptive testing of the chemicals that are inside the drums and move them out safely so that the Toronto officers can go in and do their job.
All of it tough to watch for those hoping Babcock will come home safely.
We so desperately want some news of her whereabouts, but we really don't want to hear of anything having to do with Laura and that farm.
Now, this search warrant has lasted for 5 days, and Toronto police say that they will stay out here indefinitely as part of their hunt for a missing woman.